being like so incredibly vulnerable and having that met with love and grace and patience. Just so incredibly beautiful. I love the way that it was shot. The lighting was beautiful. The camera work was beautiful. It's an interesting challenge, you know. We're like, well, why is he so resistant to this thing? And he's like, well, how am I supposed to go on the beach? How am I supposed to do all of these other things? And I'm sure he already feels very excluded from certain activities in his regular everyday life. And then to go to an island where who knows how accessible it's going to be. And so all of those things are just going to be even worse. I totally understand um, his hesitation, and just the way that his partner handled it was so mature and sweet and reassuring. And I really loved this. They were such a beautiful couple.
A really great sense of, I thought, compassion and humanity at the core of the piece that was matched quite well with the stylistic approach to in the cinematography sense, especially in the open, the great approach to the reveal of our central subject being in a wheelchair. And I thought there was a great sense of camaraderie and intimacy between the characters, both in the platonic sense and the romantic sense, and I thought worked quite well. And I felt that there was a really strong personal narrative that was also structured in a way that worked well to be extrapolated at scale in terms of a human, more universal human story that I thought worked very well with having a character at the center of the piece that would check a lot of others in their box of identity. And I think that using that central subject as the core of the narrative allowed everyone else to sort of create a vibe around the piece that I thought felt very natural and realistic, and was allowed you to have a sort of emotional connection to the piece.
It was a love story, and I loved the simple but beautiful storyline. Um, just to feel completely accepted by those who you love, and realizing that it's a beautiful thing. Um, I thought the chemistry between our two main characters was great. It was really sweet. And I loved the acting. It felt very raw and very real. I really believed their relationship and their struggles. You could see it on their faces. Um, I felt like this could have been very, very personal for our actor who was in the wheelchair, and you could really feel that in this film. And I thought that was really cool. And the music also, I enjoyed a lot. It really helped to bring that emotion.
Kind of reminded me of the quote where it's like, we accept the love we think we deserve, and just coming to this realization that you're like worthy of love and accepting it, and realizing that it's around you and like you are in this loving relationship. I think this was a really beautiful story. I think the actors did a phenomenal job. It seemed very personal. It seemed very heartfelt. There was a lot of chemistry between them on screen. Um, it was just a really lovely story. I think it was shot really well. I think the pacing was very well done. It was pretty simplistic in its message, but it was so strong and heartfelt throughout that you could just feel it. You could feel it tonally throughout the entire piece.
You get such insight about how much he really loves him and how much he feels guilty and bad and everything. And you know, I'm happy they eventually do talk about it, because in a relationship you shouldn't have to carry that kind of stuff on your own. You should talk about it. It should be something that, you know, gets shared. But it was just such a beautiful way to, you know, show their love, how they worked through it at the end, how they actually got to having that incredibly hard conversation. How they brought about that conversation was handled really well. When the love is there, the foundation is there, the friendship is there, the compassion and the understanding and the trust that you need to be able to be vulnerable. And when all of that is in place, your relationship really can handle anything, and you can overcome and you can work together